the rules. And we've got one must be 18 years or older to purchase. In this auction, email me longlivedcoins@gmail.com with any wins you make throughout the night. Please include what you won and at the price and what the price was in the email, along with your YouTube name and address you would like it shipped to. I will send you an invoice to your email, which includes many form of payment: credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. If none of those payment methods work in the invoice, I can also do Zelle and Cash App with no fee. All the payment methods are free except PayPal. If you use PayPal, they charge me, so just add 4% to your total. I would appreciate it with PayPal. Otherwise, everything is free. Shipping is $7 US, and the top bidder of the night will get a freebie. And we bid, and you can't win the freebie 2 auctions in a row. We're going to bid in increments of $1 up to 100, and then $5 increments over 100. My special guests are welcome to bid, as well as the moderators. One unique rule with this auction is you can bid insurance, but you have to pay it. And we'll start with a 3-minute timer and then count it down once the timer runs out. 3, 2, 1, sold. I do not start the timer over if bids come in. We just do a one-time countdown. And today, if we exceed 37 likes, we will pull a coin from the chest here and pull one from the deep stack and put it up for auction. And any ancient coins sold on this channel, Long Live Coins, have a lifetime guarantee that they are genuine or your money back. And if you need a monthly payment plan, we can do a 4-month payment plan, 1 payment a month. Just let me know. And if anybody has any good ideas for this channel and the auction, just shoot me an email and I'll take a look at it. And I'm not sure, sometimes I have some rules that work if my bots are working correctly. Exclamation point pay, exclamation point likes, exclamation point rules, exclamation point ancient, or exclamation point tip should bring up the Nightbot, but it's not always working, so there's that. And with that, I believe we'll get going. And I know Lassie was gonna, Clear Lake Drive was gonna try to be here for this tonight, so let me check my email. See. Not seeing anything yet. All right, let me welcome some people in here. We have Nickel Stacking, Kevin Hawthorne, good to see you. Happy Tiger, welcome in. Niels Han Dynasty, Liberty Bleed Silver, Joseph Lopez, Homestead Aquarius, good to see you. UFO No Joke, I think it got you. Thanks for being here. And we're going to get going. Clear Lake Drive. If you're out there, let us know in the messages or shoot me an email. Let me know if something has gone wrong on the back end. And OC Stacker, good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, we are going to start off with a 1/2 ounce First Majestic round. I think a lot of you know this beautiful little round here. 2019 First Majestic. 1/2 ounce, 3/9's fine. Little Aztec images on it. We're going to start this at $13. Silverboy Blues, welcome in. $13 and go. All right, we have Clear Lake says, I just left backstage to type here. Well, I don't see it. You should just pop up. Try connecting again with that new link I gave you. And yeah, go to your email. See, I sent you a new link. Maybe you're in the old link thing. I was worried because I wasn't getting you in, so I reset it and sent you a new link. So try me on the new link. 10-4. All right. So yeah, we have a first Majestic half-ounce round up for grabs right now, and it is starting at $13. Space Miner, you are not late. We're just getting going here. Thanks for coming in. Liberty Bleeds is giving him a hard time. Silverboy Blues, welcome in here. Let me see. You got it, bud. Yep, thank you. All right, we got Clear Lake. We're going to bring him in here. Mr. Clear Lake Drive.
That's what happened. I went with the early link.
Yep, that's what I was getting worried because the time was ticking down. I thought, I wonder if something went wrong, so I just rebooted and sent a new link.
Yeah, no, I've actually been hanging around watching the chat and the backstage on the first link for, I don't know, 15 minutes and watching the chat using the wife's phone.
Okay. Well, I'm glad
no biggie.
We got it all straightened out. We're just getting going, so it's
all
good. Thanks for coming in. Looks like you found something to sharpen your aim with over there.
Well, I got a big pile of stuff here. If people are curious, tonight's a good night to see it. I won't be dragging it out again. So this will be it, and we'll put it away. But the little dark things you see here, I forgot that back in like the early 2000s, I was at a coin show. I even forget how much I paid for them, but these are supposed to be Roman coins, old Roman coins, and I knew what they were at the time. It's been a long time since then. Let's see if we can get it up. I don't know if it'll focus and you can see what it is.
A little bit, yep. Yeah, cool. Where you got those at a coin show, you say?
Yeah, and they're the smallest ones. It's very hard, but they've got the same face on them, but they're actually just, and I think they're all the same size coins. The small ones just have rotted away. Okay. Let's see there. That looks like about as good as it's going to get.
All right, we got not Clear Lake. We got Silverboy Blues at 13. I'm going to start counting down. We got Silverboy Blues at 13 and 3. Yeah, those looks like some old Roman, what I would consider pennies of the time, I suppose, huh?
I would think so. I can look them up, dig them up, but I was digging around through one of my ammo cans that had older stuff in it that I bought, 20 years ago, and forgot I had those in a little bag. I've got let's see, what did I do with it? I picked up for $10. I remember that because it seemed like it was cheap at the time, but I picked up a 1936, I believe it is. Let me look at it. Yeah, it is 5 mark.
All right, we are in 3, 2, 1 at 13 to Silverboy Blues, and we are SOLD. Sold Silverboy Blues. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
at the time, people weren't interested in buying these just because of what you can see on it.
Oh wow,
Again,
man, yeah, that's gonna be a hot. I hear those are hot items. I've never seen one myself, but
yeah, I think I went on eBay when I dug it out, and they're $25 maybe.
oh, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. And it's really good shape. It's very nice. He had 6 of them, and I bought one, and the guy that I was with, he bought one also, just cause. $10 even then was kind of like, I was like, yeah, that ain't bad. I came to the show to buy stuff, so let's get something different.
Yeah, cool. SBB. Okay, so I'm also trying to. Okay, hold on. Get my camera zoomed out here a bit. So I'm also going to try up here on the top of the board where it says freebie. I'm going to try to keep whoever the top bidder is if I can. I'm trying this tonight for the first time. So we're going to put SBB up there. And we're starting this at 2 hours. Save that. Oh, come on now. Well, might have to reset the time, but at least we got SBB up there for the freebie. I'll watch on the time, even if it's not correct. Because I did that earlier, but I'll fix that next go around. So we got Silver Boy Blues has the freebie in hand. And okay, and we're gonna put up our next coin of the night. Or round, actually, it's gonna be. We have a Silvertown round Buffalo. True Flake. Nice Silvertown Buffalo round. We're going to start that at 27. So yeah, silver price is looking a little better today. What do you think, Clear Lake? Is it up, or what do you think is going on there?
For what? I'm actually sitting, I'm listening to you in the background. I'm scrolling through all the chat that I missed when I was messing around getting on.
Yeah, I was just saying silver's up a little bit today.
Quite a little bit. Sal would say it skyrocketed. And technically, I guess compared to where it was a week ago, it did. Gold's the thing that is really going.
Taking
what the heck was going on with palladium? Was 3 weeks ago it was like at what, $840 or something? It was $20 cheaper than platinum, and now it's over $1,000, I believe, tonight when it closed.
Yeah, yep. Did it close over?
I think it did. I believe platinum was like 906.
Yeah, okay, palladium, you mean. Yeah, palladium.
Yeah, palladium, sorry.
Yeah, palladium jumped up, and platinum's still down at like 921, but palladium's up at 1,081. So.
Yeah, oh my. Good Lord.
Yeah, it really jumped.
I think this morning it was up 106 when I looked at it.
We got Lassie Farm at 27. Got to get this timer going, sorry. All right. Lassie Farm in at 27. Good to see you, Lassie Farm. Hope all is well with you. Nickel Stacking says silver to 51, bros. I know. Might start to go that way if gold keeps gold strong. I think that's going to do well for silver.
Well, I guess everybody's hoping. I like it when it's cheap. I'm one of those buy low, and when it gets high, just sit and watch.
Yeah.
But maybe gold may not come down after this past 2030. You know, I mean, that'll take a lot of people out of the picture, having it in that 2030, 2050 range and have it stay there.
Yeah. I think if gold holds up here, it's gonna. I mean, right now, I mean, even when it's making its all-time high, That's, there wasn't much news about it because it was just kind of barely breaking. But now that it's holding steady, a good link above, I imagine there'll be a little bit more news about it. And if it doesn't drop back down, I mean, that's kind of a separation point where if you're watching the dollar, we're, now even gold to the dollar is pretty much, on top of it.
Yeah.
So that it should
Well,
really
for
a
But
bright
if you're
light.
if you're pinching pennies to be able to catch up to buy that, half ounce or a full ounce, and you can't do it now because it's too high, it starts driving 1/10 ounces way too high.
Yeah.
The question is will they keep the premiums down so that they can move product? That's what I think about,
Yep. I mean, yeah, from what I understand, I mean, last time when we seen this crunch, I mean, it just starts moving so fast that it's literally becomes a logistics thing, where yeah, you can get it, but you got to wait on it, and that's I think what really drives the premium when you say, yeah, I can get it, you just got to wait a while, and then it's like, that then other people want it first, and that's what those premiums start jumping, I think. But yeah.
Well, time will tell. It's only been 3 days. My big line is wait for the Friday fix. Is it going to stay high and stick around like that for the weekend, or will it dive and give everybody a chance to try to buy something over the weekend before who knows what happens on Monday again? Seems like Tuesdays now are the day to be keeping an eye on dramatic moves.
That's kind of it is, yeah, you're right about watch for Friday, but also I was impressed. I expected it to get hit Monday and today, like, hit hard down. Usually at the beginning of the week, if it is up a little bit on Friday, they'll smack it down come Monday,
Yeah, you're right about that. You know what I want to do? I'm going to pull this out of the way, and I want to say thank you for that.
Oh yeah, awesome, cool.
I didn't expect that. That kind of, I went to pour the bag open, have the stuff pour out, and when I cut open the packing on it, it fell in my hand and I dropped it. I was not expecting that to be what came out of it. But for those who are sitting in the peanut gallery here, there's a close up of what it is. Russia.
Yes, we have Lassie Farm. Hold on just one second before you tell us what it is. We got Lassie Farm in 3. He's got this buffalo, Silvertown buffalo. He's holding it at 27. We're counting it down to him in 3, in 2, in 1, and we are SOLD. Sold the Lassie Farm. Thank you, sir. Good pickup. Bringing your weight up. Yeah, so what do you got there?
Well, I've got the Speg Owl that I bought from you.
Nice, yeah. Those are hard to come by now.
Yeah, and I had to have it because if you watch my channel, I've got barred owls around here just hooting it up all the time at sunset every night.
Oh, yeah?
I got a nest someplace close by. Yeah, I haven't. They were using an old red-tailed hawk's nest, but a storm knocked it down, and they're someplace close by because they're in my pines every evening, but the nest isn't far. But there was that, and of course I bought let me turn it and get it here and the gloves on. I bought the kookaburra from you.
Oh yeah, the platinum.
The awesome. Platinum. And then the last thing that came was the Platinum Britannia.
Nice.
Those are and then the first regular round, if you remember, was the Big Game Series with the elephant.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, those are nice too.
So I've been dipping into your well a little bit. Lassie likes to dip into your well very deep.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys. I hope I'm keeping you happy. I appreciate it. So yeah,
it's fun buying it.
Say that again.
I said it's fun buying it here.
Awesome. That's what we want to do. We want to get something of value in people's hands and enjoy ourselves doing it. It's the whole idea.
And it gets cheaper the more you buy.
Right, right.
Well, you got a fixed rate shipping. How much do you think you could get in the bag for the $7 shipping? How many ounces do you think you can get in there?
Oh well, I've shipped some pretty heavy bags, so
There you go. So that should be an incentive to
indeed,
start
Jake's
weighing down the bag for shipment.
right, indeed. And you can even open up a wallet and hold it for a while, and then let me know when you're ready, and we can ship it out and save you even more. Muscle Shell, welcome in. Good to see you here. Thanks for being here. Jake's Custom Parts, thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you. We are gonna go to our next round. So yeah, so now we got LF up there at the freebie for Lassie Farm. And we are going to continue on with, let's go with this maple. All right, so this is a maple with the Queen's Years of Reign, her last Years of Reign. This will be the last maple, I believe, with her on it. It says 1952 to 2022. And got a 4.9's beautiful maple. So Years of her reign, kind of as a privy, I guess. And we're gonna start this out at
If you hear me chuckle, it's because I'm back to reading the chats.
Yeah, go ahead and talk to them if you want.
You live this far out in the country, you find yourself being amused easily.
Well, that's
you hear things too. You look around and go, "That's a chicken talking to me." What the hell?
All right, we're starting that off at $28. Time is ticking. Okay, and also, okay, I got to back out a little bit here. Also, over here to the side, we have a buy it now. These are prospectors that can be broken into 4 parts. You're going to need a pair of pliers to do it. I don't necessarily recommend it, but it's an option, more of a novelty, if any. But those are buy it now for $29, up to 6 total. So you can just type in buy it 29 prospector and how many you want. Or you have the option of bidding on this maple that is up right now. And she's up for $28 right now. $28. That's got the years of her reign. So so yeah, I don't know what all we're gonna get time here. We got Neil's Han Dynasty at $30. That's putting you up there at the top. And if that is a bid, yes, $30 for the Queen coin. Yeah, so about I'd love to hear a little bit about being a beekeeper and taking care of bees.
Oh, sure. I figured you'd get around to that eventually. I was the wife's turned into a honey hoarder, and she keeps like 4 quart jars for decoration up on the kitchen counter with her Longerberger baskets and all that kind of stuff. She's got her own issues with collecting, different than mine, but still. And I was looking today, and I would have had to go digging way down in the closet, the where she keeps all the honey storage and that. And what I was looking for was the clover honey that I get earlier in the season is a clearer, softer yellow. And the buckwheat honey that I get out of the hives in the fall is like a really dark brown. And I was going to go digging in there tried to find some of the clover honey so I could put both of those jars up there so you could see the difference. But the clover honey's very sweet, and it tastes like honey. All honey has this honey taste, but there's a first initial taste, and then there's leftover aftertaste, and the darker honey from the buckwheat has sort of like a spicy taste, and I'm not saying hot, like people mix up hot peppers and spicy peppers. It's kind of the same, but it's got kind of like a spicy flavor to it, an aftertaste that lingers for a while, where the clover honey is sweet and leaves that sweet sugary flower flavor. And if I get real late honey that's made with goldenrod, it tastes even different than those two and has a different aroma. Even the hives, when they're putting up the pollen, they say it smells like dirty socks. Well, not my dirty socks, but it smells maybe someone else's. But there's a peculiar, people used to confuse it with foul brood, and it's not. It smells similar to it, I guess. I've never had foul brood in my hives, so I can't actually say I know what it smells like. But anyway, there's a little bee lure. My bees are pulling a lot of pollen. I sent Lassie Farm a couple of pictures earlier. The daffodils are all blooming around here. Crocuses are up.
Nice.
We went to. Go ahead.
Hold on, we got anonymous tipped $5, and I'm guessing that's the anonymous Jake's Custom Parts. But if not, whoever it was, I greatly appreciate it, because I got this software in the background, and this should drop into the coin and possibly. You guys aren't seeing it, are you? See, why is that not playing through? So frustrating. That's supposed to come through onto your screen, but it's not for some reason. Oh, but you can see that it dropped into the. It goes across the top of the screen and drops a little ball into the cup, and it can either stay in the cup or bounce out of the cup. And I'm trying to figure out what kind of a game it's got going there. But anyway, greatly appreciate the tip, because it helps me figure these things out. And it looks like we got Silver Boy Blues picked up a couple of the Prospector rounds. I got you down for two Prospector rounds, Silver Boy Blues. I appreciate that. And then we have the time winding down on this maple, so I'm going to count down the maple to Neil's Han Dynasty. And we're going to count it down to Neil at 30 and 3. Did you do want it, right, Jake? Jake's Custom Parts, that was a bid you had at $30 on the maple. Into. And Lassie Farm wants 2 prospectors. You got it, bud. That leaves 2 left. If anybody else wants the last 2, let me know.
I've got 4 of those buried someplace. I like the ones with the eagle on the back.
Yeah, the Engelhard or
the Engelhard, yeah.
Those Engelhards are nice. Yeah, this isn't an Engelhard, but they're a prospector image on the front, and they're breakable.
Oh, okay. And I'm looking at like I said, the wife's phone and watching the chat, and then I can't even tell what I'm looking at. It's so small.
All right. Last Farm, appreciate that, Last Farm. So that puts Lassie Farm. Let's see where we're at in 3, 2. Well, I did. Okay, in 1. And we are SOLD, sold to Neil's Han Dynasty. Thank you, sir. All right. Beautiful pickup, by the way. Let's see, doing these extra things has got me busy. Well, yeah, anyway, you continue on while I try to get some of this here. No, that tastes a little bit different in the fall, the honey, than the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I hunt and I have turkeys and deer, and If you watch my channel, the turkeys know that they're highly valued around here, and they're here, but they're like the coyotes. You just don't see them, and if you do and they see you, that's it. They're gone. It's not like JM where you're going to get pictures of them walking across the road or the walking path, or like Lassie Farm had a bunch of toms come out one of the places that he delivers glass to, and they're walking across the road. Ain't never going to happen here. They're here, but they are just so elusive, so elusive.
I see. So you said that you have owls there.
Yeah, I've got barred owls, and I'm sure I haven't heard any screech owls, and I've never seen a barn owl. The area that I'm in, any barn that's left standing, there aren't any barns that old that the barns have access into. They just aren't here. When I lived up in the Chicago area, if we had lots of snow and there was snowpack for a month or so from Chicago all the way up to Canada, then we would see snowy owls on and off down there. But I'm far enough. It was 74 here yesterday and 78 the day before. And so, yeah, the weather's, you expect it that this far south in Illinois, you can have really freezing cold, but I'm far enough south, it doesn't last. Even in the wintertime, we'll get, teens in here, and, they'll have, the crops will be freezing down in Florida, the orange trees will be getting, and it's almost gone here as fast as it is down there. It's a 1, 2 day, 3 day event tops, and then we swing back. But the last couple of winters, this was the first year that the ice, it got cold long enough for 2 weeks that I was actually felt comfortable walking out on it. And I cut a hole in it. It was 5.5 inches thick. And I haven't lived here all the time, except for the last 4 years. I've had the property for over 30, but coming down here in the winter, I've never been on the ice here before. That's what the winters are like. Oh. And when we did have it and I was down here, I wasn't going on it. So, yeah, the weather's all screwed up here. All kinds of weird things are happening.
Okay, cool. Yes, I can put a link in the chat for the PayPal donations. Let me see. So I think, here, let's see. You can just push !tip. I think that will bring it up. If that works, let me know. Was that you that tipped me earlier? I greatly appreciate that. So we have $10 face value in these quarters. These are pre-64. Almost circulated. These are nice, still very nice quarters. And we're going at about $20 face. So that's $200. $10 face value in there at $200. So anybody wants that? I see. So yeah, so let's hear some more about the bees, because I'm liking learning about bees and relating in ways I can relate it to stacking. Because bees, they go out and they find the nice flowers and the good pollen and the good nectar, and they go seek it out, and so and they come and then they stash it and turn it into a savings. So all this works well. So what are some other interesting ways in which I can relate?
Let me see. I'd have to contemplate. I don't think I've ever actually looked at it like that. I've looked at it more as, during the summer when the weathers are warm, the bees only live, they're all female except for the drones. The drones are male, and the sole purpose of the drone is to impregnate the queen, and then he dies. So there's many of us that are happy we are not drones.
Yeah. But drones are usually in a hive?
Oh, it depends. You don't want too many of the drones in there. They can actually get, overrun the hive. I've actually opened up the hive before and had too many of them in there and gone and cut them out of there and smashed them.
So
The, the,
like how many do you think should be in there roughly? Like,
off the top of my head, I've actually forgotten what the count would be. It would depend on the size of the hive, and I've got some hives that I've got one 12 frame super on it, and the hive is content to just keep moving along at that size. And if I let them, sometimes don't use a queen excluder, they'll come up into the honey supers, which are smaller, and lay in there. But then I've got other hives where the queen is just super, super productive, and I've got 12 frames on top of it. And by the end of the season, I may have 3 or 4 honey supers on it. And because if there's that many bees, they'll fill them. I've got 5 beehives, and they've all originated from the one I was called up from where I was at by someone down here that said that they had a friend that wanted to know if he wanted bees, and he didn't raise bees anymore, but he knew I did, and gave me the guy's phone number, and it turned out to be the grandson of one of the old fellas that lives, I don't know, about 2 miles away from me. And guy's in his, 40s, late 40s. Anyhow, he was tearing down a telephone pole, and it had a beehive in it of wild bees. And so he stopped messing with it, and I went in and told the boss I had a personal reason I had to leave, and I left and got in the car and came down here that evening. And then the next morning I went over there and we captured all of them. And I had built a bee vac so that I could vacuum it all up. And we cut the rest of the pole apart. And I took all the brood and the honeycomb out of it and framed it all up on frames. I wired the frames and we rubber banded them in. And we captured the hive, and the whole hive. There were a few stragglers, but we got most of them. And I brought them back here and set it all up. Everything took off. It was fine. And then for a whole year, usually if I get new bees or do something like that, I don't take any honey from them. I really feel like they're setting up a hive, and there's no point in putting them in jeopardy, especially if they end up taking off and doing really well. I just leave them and let them, do what they got to do. And then the second year, if they survive the winter and it's nice, healthy hive, then I'll start stealing from them. People call it harvesting, but that's not what they think it is, I believe. But anyway, so to cut to the chase on this, I had bought that first year I came down here in 2020 in May. I drove all the way up to Champaign and bought 2 3-pound packages of bees. I came back here and got them all in the 2 hives on the other end of the property. And before I had left that morning to go picking them up, we're getting ready to jump in the car and drive a couple hours north. And I had a swarm, just a huge swarm out of that hive that I had caught 2 years before. And they all landed up in the tree out in the front yard. I couldn't reach them with the ladder, a 22-footer. They were all the way out on the end of a branch. So I had some queen pheromone, and I had some nukes, and I had empty frames that were already pre-waxed. So I went and got some bungee straps, and I put the queen pheromone inside the hive, or in the nuke, and I bungee strapped it in onto the tree and made sure that, it could hold 3 or 4 pounds worth of bees and stay up there and just let it go. And then the next morning, they were all in there. So I went up there, took it down, and then took the nuke and put it over in a location by my dam and just let it go. And, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do now. I've got this going on. So, and I had guests here.
What does it mean when you have a
when they swarm, what happens is the hive senses that the queen is getting old and getting weak, and they decide what they're going to do is they start laying, the queen lays, and they start capping for queen cells. And a lot of times you'll have, a lot of people think there's 1 or 2. I've opened up hives and there's been 5 or 6 of them in there. And potentially what'll happen is a lot of times you'll get a queen to hatch first, and she wants to have dominance in the hive. She'll go and she'll open up the caps of the other ones and sting them and kill them. Sometimes they don't do that, and you end up having 2 queens in there. But usually the way it formulates is the older queen decides she'll leave, and what I just explained to you is what happens when she leaves and takes a large percentage of the hive with her, and that's what a swarm is. And the drones will go out, I believe, and look for another place. The bees go out and they look for another place to make a home that's suitable. And they swarm before they go, and the queen, and then they'll all pile up around the queen, and then bees will come back and, say, I found this spot, and, they'll go and they'll check it, and sometimes the swarm will be there for 3 days. Sometimes it'll be there for 3 hours. It's hard to tell. The whole thing's very complicated what they do. But back to where I was starting with this, and a kind of direct answer to your question, I'm not paying attention to the chat if you got a coin ending right now.
Hello to Chef. You're good.
Yeah.
Keep going.
You want me to keep going?
Yep.
Okay. How I ended up with all the bees that I have was 2 days later, that big hive, it swarmed again. And 3 days after that, it swarmed again. I mean, the thing is, I got 5 boxes on it, and they got up into the honey supers, and they were laying in there, and I just had tons, and you ought to hear it when they leave and they're in the air, and you're really standing there, and it's like the worst part of the movie The Birds.
Yeah.
When the birds are swarming in the Alfred Hitchcock movie, but it's bees, and it's just loud, and then they all just, in like a matter of like 3 or 4 minutes, they all converge and gather on a huge branch, and I've got some videos of me capturing 2 different swarms. You'd have to go all the way back in the beginning.
All right,
and they're long videos.
Hold on 1 second. We got Silver Boy at 1, and we are SOLD $30 to Silver Boy Blues. We are sold to Silver Boy Blues. Thank you very much. Okay, continue on. Sorry.
All righty. And I haven't been following the chat. I'm hoping that Neil Hahn is jumping in here every now and then on the chat and offering a little bit of information, because I know he knows.
Well, I was going to say, I've seen Neil in a swarm before. What looked to be a swarm, and that was crazy. He acted like it was nothing, but
it's not, and it's really not. People are afraid of it, and the thing is that when they swarm, it's spring, and they're all hopped up. They're eating a lot of honey before they leave, because it's kind of like, if you're going to take a trip and you can't stop for 10 or 12 hours, you're going to eat before you leave. You know what I'm saying? So they get ready for that. They need to have some stores of energy, but they're in a good mood. They're happy in the spring. I mean, they're happy, and you can a lot of times the only reason I wear the veil is because I don't want them crawling on my face. The urge to swat at them and hit them, that's not a good move to make, and it's just human to do that.
Right. I imagine that's funny. Yeah, I seen Neil was being so. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get him on and listen to both of you guys. I'm interested in the subject. So,
if I heard right, he said he's a master beekeeper, and I'm a long ways from that. I'm just a hobby beekeeper that admits that even 5 hives, it's a job. If you're really, really going to raise bees and do the whole thing, it's a job. And getting all the bees to leave the honey supers, and taking all the frames, and then getting them all in a pile. And I've only got a two frame extruder, so it's time consuming for us, and we bring it in the house. I've got to build a bee shed for my stuff and for where I can work, because really, truly, when you're doing that outside, you're going to have bees all around you, because honey's and wax is all over everything. And they're just so happy to be having it, as long as you don't go smashing one of them or 2 of them and hitting them and pissing one of them off. it's not a big deal. And back to the swarm. When they're doing that in the spring, they're happy. The world's a beautiful place, and they're, you really got to do something bad. The first time I saw a beekeeper capture a swarm, which got me started in the bees in the first place, where I worked at in the city up north, I called up the beekeeper from Indiana and said, man, I got a swarm here. We need somebody to come and take them. You want them? He's like, yeah, be there like in a half an hour. And I mean, I don't know how fast he drove. The state line isn't even a half an hour away from where I lived up there. But he showed up in his wife's car with 2 kids' car seats in the back, wearing shorts, sandals, and a Grateful Dead T-shirt.
Okay, hold it there for 1 second with the guy.
That's fine.
And I just want to point out to the new people in the chat. So up at the top of the screen, it says a freebie, and I'm keeping the at least the initials or some recognition of the person who is the Hive leader in bidding. So they will be getting the freebie as it goes. So right now we got Silver Boy Blues is getting the freebie so far tonight. So it's the top bidder of the night. I'm trying to keep track of that as we go. So if somebody sees something off, let me know. I'm seeing with a few new things I'm trying today, it's keeping me really busy. So hopefully I'm still on track. All right, continue on with your story. You just got there in the car and he showed up in his shorts and
okay, yeah. And okay, he had a nuke. And he had a smoker. He had, his veil. He had all that stuff in the back. And he opens up. He gets out. He goes, "Where is it?" Well, it don't get any easier than this, except for maybe the ones I've had here in my trees, my orchard next to the beehive in the front. But they were all on a tree branch. I swear, 3 feet off the ground. And it was started at 5 feet off the ground, but they were so heavy it bent all the way down to like 3 feet off the ground. And he walked over and looked at him. He goes, "Well, they ain't gonna bother you, but if you got one land on you, don't swat it." And he says, "And if it lands on your face, don't swat it." So I'm over there, and we're standing, 2 feet away from it. And he's looking around on it, and he's like, you can tell he's thinking about what he wants to do. And I have a bee land right on my nose. And I'm looking cross-eyed at it, and it's looking at me. I mean, it's looking at me and walking around and looking, and then it decided whatever it saw, it was cool with it and flew away. I didn't swat it. And after that happened, then my whole attitude about bees had totally changed. Anyway, he goes, he gets the nuke out of his trunk, doesn't put anything, he's dressed like he is. He walks over to it. I said, "You're not going to put anything on?" He goes, "No." He says, they're in a great mood. He says the forsythias are blooming. He says they're all jet. He says this is like a dream come true. Easy. So he goes over there. He puts the nuke. There's no frames in it at all. It's empty. He had taken the frames out and set them on the ground, and he puts it right under the branch. And because it's close enough, he bends the branch all the way down, and the bees all go in the nuke. And he gives it a snap, and almost everything completely comes off of the branch and goes into the nuke. A bunch of them spill over the side in a pile and land on the ground. And he picks up the branch and he looks at it to make sure the queen's not on it. And the ones that are on the ground, he's sitting there. He says, "Now watch this." And he had blocked the opening to the nuke so that it was closed. And he turned the hive around where the pile of bees were and opened it up. And he said, "Just watch, because they're going to smell her if she's in there, and I know she is, if they're not in the pile that they're on right now." And they all started, they smelled her, and they all started climbing on the front of the nuke and climbed inside. And he decided he was in a hurry, so he just reached down there with his hands and gently started scooping up the pile of bees to hurry them along and put them in the box.
Hold on 1 second. So we got...
Sure, go ahead.
Theron, 1984. Welcome in. I don't believe I've seen you in here, but I appreciate you stopping in here. We have a 1 ounce prospector from Silvertown in a landscape portrait. It's got a smooth back, and we have it up for $33. Still in its packaging. All right, continue on.
Oh, okay. He scooped them all up in there, and then he picked up the frames and gently slid them all in there. gently, 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 so he didn't smash them. They move out of the way, and they were older frames that had wax on them already, actually had cells on them, and they slid in, they start climbing on them, and got them all the way down, and then he did the nest, then he put the lid on, he put it in the back of the trunk, and said, "Thanks, man." And he was, I'm guessing, I was like 50, 52. He's a kid to me, he was like 32 years old, so maybe 28. He was young, really young, and which that sounds like it's young now. I'm going to be 66 in 2 months. So, but anyway, that was it. That sold me right then and there. Like 6 weeks later, I had gotten on eBay and I'd ordered a super and some frames, and I spent the next like 4 or 5 months blowing a couple of $100 on stuff to be a beekeeper. I was one of those kinds of guys that freaked the wife out if I showed up with a box of ammunition that I didn't have a gun for, because you know what that meant.
Yeah.
I don't have one, but I'm gonna, because golly, you can't have ammunition without a gun to put it in, right? So it's kind of how I do stuff. So anyway, I thought that was kind of amusing, but that's like how did I get really started in beekeeping, and that was it. And I learned so much right then and there, just like that. So
that is crazy. I mean, you do learn a lot from, just like you say. I mean, that tells you a lot right there, doesn't it?
Yeah. And what cinched it was, I don't know. Let's see. I retired 4 years ago. That would make it, somewhere I'm guessing around 2015 or 16. Then we had an old farmhouse that the woman was living in it, but the city had bought the property from her. And they wanted to turn the property, because the house was like one of the old original farms from when the city was originally founded. Okay, back, I don't know, like 1920 or something.
Hold on, we got no bid in 3.
Sure.
At $33, we got a no bid in 3, in 2, in 1. And we are no bid. Welcome in, Stack That Gold. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Okay, and they wanted to repaint this 2-story house, old farmhouse, over 100 years old. I think even older than that. It was actually built with red oak logs that were cut in like 4x8s, and then put together like a Lincoln log kit, and then lathed with plaster on the inside, and then had yellow poplar siding on it, 4-inch yellow poplar siding, where they just put furring strips on the outside of the logs and beat on it. Anyway, the bees had found a way to get behind all of that stuff, and had a hive in the back of the house and on the side. And once again, because I was a labor supervisor, a crew chief there, I was the grounds guy. So that property now was my responsibility to make sure that it always looked good, and contractors mowed the grass, and I kept the trees trimmed, and the building department kept our house fixed. Anyway, it fell on me because I was interested in bees, and I'm the crazy guy, that hunts and fishes and does stuff like that. So I went and got another beekeeper to come in, and he cut the city a really good deal, because we were going to need to use our bucket truck for him to get up to the 2nd story. And the house, the siding was going to have to be cut off, and the whole bit. And the deal was that somebody had to help him. Well, there wasn't anybody there that was going to do it, and I sure as hell was, because I'm ready now. I got everything I need. I just needed bees. And so we went through that, and I ended up with 5-gallon buckets filled with honeycomb. Oh, it was huge. The pictures of it, doggone it, they were in the city phone that I had to turn back in, and I forgot to transfer all that stuff. But this hive was just huge, and so I got the queen, and I got brood. I got everything, and took it back to the house there in town, and that was the beginning of it. And then the second hive, we did that like 3 or 4 days later, and we split that, and he took he ended up getting the queen, but there was enough brood in there that I was able to set up the hive with larvae and 1 and 2 day olds, and they were able to convert over and raise their own queen. So ended up that's how I started, and I was doing this in the backyard of a city of like 17,000 people, and most of them never knew what was going on because I had 6-foot stockade fence all the way around it. They just never knew, and the bees. The only thing that anybody figured out that there was something going on is that the neighbors 2 doors down had a pool, and the bees like to go over there and drink the water out of the swimming pool, but nothing ever happened. And so that's basically my history of how I got into the bee stuff. And now I've got more time thought I would have more time to mess around with it. But now that I have the farm and I've already started breaking down fields, I've got my asparagus patch all cleaned up and ready to go. All I got to do is wait for it to get warm enough. I planted over 1,000 plants over the course of 4 years. So, and it's all buried at different depths. So some of it comes up real quick and then some of it comes up later. So I can harvest asparagus for 6 weeks easy here. And I end up giving a lot of it away because I just have so much of it, but it was worth the investment. It'll produce food long after I'm dead.
You got stacked gold at 35. Thank you, sir. I see. Cool. So do you have a lot of problems with what fields do you think are nearby for them to do you worry about that? No,
I really don't, because I've got a friend that they hunt solely on their property. They've got fields next parts of it that they have planted, rotated between corn and beans, and then sometimes winter wheat, and swing all the way around. But they used to run an outfitting service years and years ago for deer hunting. So the property's pretty much all set up with that. And the acreage that they've got left that's wild, that's like wild prairie land, is north of me. And it's, it's 1.5 miles away. That's nothing for bees to fly. There's plenty of that. Illinois has been really good over the years of letting farmers get into the pollinator program. And if they've got land or soil that is not really totally productive for raising crops without an enormous amount of spraying and fertilizing and liming and all that stuff, let me come back to it. Somehow I just got the warning for juice. I'm low on juice. The power cord came out. I've been running on battery. We do not want to lose my feed. So let me get going here. This won't take but a second. I've been lucky so far with 6 cats in the house, and Lucy if I'm doing stuff like this, she feels like she needs to be involved in it, and she hasn't come up here and started climbing around on the table yet. But
hold on here.
Go ahead.
OC Stacker, how many kooks do you have? I have, after this 93, I'm going to put a 92 out, and that's all I have up for sale tonight. I got a 92 after this, and this 93, I believe Stack That Gold has at 35 right now. Okay, go ahead.
All right, hold on a second. I'm plugging in the wife's phone because Schurz is doing better than me, but all right.
Neil says he has 7 cats, so you got
I've got 6 on the inside and 2 on the outside. And so anyway, before I interrupted with myself with the cats and getting the battery thing straightened out, where was I at before that? Yeah, I'm moving pretty quick here.
Yeah, I want to hear. So what do you have for bug problems with your bees?
Oh, okay. That's right, the pollinator stuff. So, and I'll lead back into answering your question directly, because in about what I was telling you with the pollinator plots, Illinois pays the farmers, if they get in this program, to not plant crops. Because the United States has corn coming out of its you-know-what. I mean, we do. We just do. We sell so much of it, and there's just tons of it. And we need the pollinators, so the state lets them keep that. So I've got neighbors all around me that have 10, 20-acre parcels restored back to natural, Illinois prairie land, with deep-rooted natural prairie grasses and coneflower and black-eyed Susans and all that stuff. So there's plenty of that around. But go ahead.
I just gonna call out numbers every once in a while. So 30.
Okay.
Silverboy Blues is at 37. He's got it right now, and we are winding down to Silverboy Blues in 3. If I can type it in here, in 3, in 2. Yeah, I'm not trying to be rude, but I
Oh no, what? No, that's not about
in
I'm
1. We got Silverboy Blues at 37 and 1, and we are SOLD. A shiny man at 38. We are sold to shiny man. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. 40 Silverboy Blues, just a little bit late. Thank you guys for your bids. Greatly appreciated. We got shiny man coming in on that with $38. Continue on, my friend.
You know what, Neil? I just saw about the powdered sugar. I have actually used that before, and I've also put a 1% solution of just granulate, melted granulated sugar, cane sugar, in a bottle, and sprayed them just a little teeny bit with that, and they are so busy cleaning the stuff off of them that you juice them up like that, we're back to it makes them happy again. They get all juiced up. But I've used the powdered sugar before. I've also used the powdered sugar for the mites. Let's see. I see Jake's Custom here, kitties over.
Mite. How do you mean?
Well, the thing is they get varroa mites, and that's all. I'm not even going to get into that because that's a whole nother thing, and that would, you know what? We could get Neil to come on 2 weeks from now and talk about the varroa mites, and I can kind of jump in on the chat while he's talking about that, because that is a serious issue. That's another thing with my bees. I do not do anything for them. These wild bees, they've got a mean side, and Italians are orange and black, a real bright orange and black, and the Russian strains are like almost all black, and I've got everything, including both all black and the regular Italian orange and black, and every color you can imagine of the blend between black and orange together. So these bees were all originally of different strains and interbreeded with each other, and I'm surprised I haven't had anybody from the ag department come by, even though I've told them, I've got to register my hives. They're registered. And I'm like, hey, do a pop-in anytime you want. Go open them up and take a look. I'll open up. I'll have hive beetles. Everybody gets them. I've got pine trees here. 4 of them are sitting underneath the pine trees. And I'll open it up, and I get hive beetles, but I very rarely ever find them in the frames. I'll open up the top, and inside the bee hive is an inner cover, and there'll be like 30, 40, 50 bees up there, and the beetles, they'll have them all hoarded in the corners and hiding in between any crevice they can get in up there. And I go up there and I take a flexible putty knife and I open it up and stick it around, and they'll come running out, and man, I start smashing them. And when I'm done, and the bees know that I'm killing them, and they're like, oh, that's cool. They back up and they sit there. It's like it's a show. They climb up on the sides of the inner cover and they sit there and watch me smash them. They don't even fly away. And when I got them all killed, then I go bang the thing on the side of the tree to get most of them out. And I'm sure there's a few live ones that get away. And I'll start pulling frames and looking around, and I hardly ever find any inside the hive. But these bees also, some of them end up being more gentle. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. Yes.
That's all right.
Keep that thought about the gentleness. But so on this 1992 Kookaburra, it's really, it's in great shape, but there is a couple tiny spots here. You can see on the back, there's one right there, and there's a tiny one in the frost there. So there are 2 little spots. Milk spots are what they are. Otherwise, she's immaculate. But I'm just letting you know. I just showed you there on eBay. These things are selling for, $60, 40, 50, 60 and up. So we're going to put this one in at $35 and continue on with your story there. Some are more docile than others, or what were you saying?
Yeah, but anyway, so what it's turned out is that these bees, as far as defensive in that aspect of predators for them, like the mites, I'll pull the bottom boards out and take a look, and I've never had a real mite problem. Oh, I've got some in there, but it's like it never takes off. And the beetles aren't an issue. I bought beetle traps. I put them in there, and it was a waste of money. I'm not catching enough beetles in the beetle traps to even use the darn things because the bees are so aggressive that they keep them out of there. It's strange, you know. It'd be nice to breed these bees.
35 Shiny Shinyman, 36 to Lassie Farm. I see. Yeah, that's interesting. So have you had any trouble like with aggression at any point or anything, or that's really not?
Well, I have been, when I had the Italians up in Chicago, I would come home from work in the evening, you know, in the summer, the days are long, it's hot and it's warm, and go out there and pop them open and take a look and see what's going on. And sometimes I would sit there, especially if they were really, really busy, and I had 4 hives up there. I would sit down with a chair, right, you know, not in the flight path, but off to the side, about just 2 feet away with a camera, and take pictures of them, and and they were gentle. These ones are not that gentle.
Okay, well, hold on. I would love to get some footage of, you know, bees coming into the hive, maybe just showing them coming in, maybe without quite getting the hive. But I'm looking for like some footage of bees that I can use on my channel. So if you have any good footage,
I'll make you some. Not a problem. Especially as soon as it gets. I was out there the other day, 3 days ago, working in the fields with a tractor and disking and that, and man, they were. It was a free-for-all. I've still got reducers on the front of the doors because we're having cold nights. All I did was fill them up with sugar. I actually take the top off, and I put an extendable top that it's about 1.5 inches thick, so there's room for it. And I put newsprint. Actually, I use like wrapping paper it's made just like newsprint, but doesn't have any ink in it. And I cut it just small enough the bees can come up from the sides and get onto the paper, and then I just put granulated sugar on there, about 3/4 inch thick. You know, like, I don't know, 1 pound or 2 pounds of it, maybe 3. I take it out. I don't really know how much I use. I use a 10-pound bag, but I put that on top, and then of course there's a full 10 frames of honey in a honey super at the very least on top of their regular honey that they have in a hive. And I haven't even opened them up since I did it in the I don't know, was I in there December maybe? I think we had warm weather. I was worried about them getting into the honey early because it was so warm. Because the cold weather slows them down, and but I've got them. I was telling Lassie Farm over the weekend when I was doing the garden, I wear the headphones with a radio in them, and they're yellow, and I had bees flying around my head the whole time I was rototilling the garden on the tractor because they saw that yellow and they thought I was a big flower or something, I guess.
All right, we got Lassie Farm at 36 and 3 and 2 and 1. Oh, that's supposed to be in 1. Sometimes it's not. And we are SOLD, sold to Lassie Farm at 36, 37 to Shiny Shinyman, right in there. We get a snipe. It's going to be one of our first really close snipes. Good job, Shiny Shinyman. We got sniped by Shiny Shinyman at $37. All right.
Hey, is Homestead Aquarius still out there? I'm panning around through the.
I haven't seen him in a minute, actually. I think.
Oh, that's too bad. We got talking about bees. I wanted to show him something because I remember him talking about it last, 2 weeks ago when I got the platinum.
Okay.
We'll see if he's there, he'll see this, and if he's not, then he can see it tomorrow. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. He was talking about how he wanted to get one of those one day. This is one of the coins I got. Remember I was telling you about the jewelry store owner?
Yeah.
This is one of those coins I got for $25 from the jewelry store owner back in the early 2000s.
Nice.
Let me flip it over. I mean, it's AU. It's just
That's awesome. That's
excellent. And
I love those things, no doubt.
Here's a really nice 99.
All right, so that puts shiny. Let me get a tally going. So yeah, for those that are new in here, at the top of the board, we got the freebie leaderboard there, and right now it's Silver Boy Blues is in the lead. Shinyman is coming back a little bit here. We got Lassie Farm in the middle. So all right, yeah, continue on. Sorry, I was interrupting you. All right. Up to next. We got. Let's go. Oh yeah, I know somebody who was talking about some pandas.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. I brought them all out.
Oh, did you?
I thought you'd find this interesting too.
Do you have that one right there? I suppose this is the one out.
Yeah.
Where they dropped it down to. Oh, hey, Homestead is back in the chat. Good to see you, Homestead. I think we were just you probably.
He was lurking. He was doing a Clear Lake, hanging out, lurking.
Probably.
That's the thing. I almost always it sells. Almost always, but it's just the chat moves so fast with a phone. By the time I get involved in chatting, it's over with. So there's the paperwork. And there it is.
Oh yeah. What year is that now?
1986. That's proof.
I got that. I believe the same thing here.
Yep, lovely.
Those are lovely.
Well, this'll bend your mind because I think I told Lassie about the Libertads because Lassie loves Libertads, but here.
Thank you, OC. Thank you, moderators. Liberty Bleed Silver, OC Stacker. Thanks, guys. Neil's Han Dynasty. Appreciate you. Okay, so yeah, this here First Strike PCGS MS69. Do you do?
There's the Libertad stash.
Oh wow, look at that. That's nice. Do you do 69s Clear Lake?
Do I do what?
MS69. Is that a grade you do, or is that too low down on your scale, or you have
No. I've with the pandas. I've back when I started collecting pandas, it was almost impossible to find MS70s. And if you could, they were really, really expensive. And then over time, then more of them ended up showing up. And of course, the price reflected that. I'm going to stack these up so I'll put them back in the tube. But because I've got all kinds of different years here, 99s, 2000s. I've got
this one
quite a few Unas.
We're dropping this one right here, right now. We are putting it up. Oops, sorry. Let me regrab the come on.
You got business to take care of.
Yeah, and I didn't even put up the price, so hold on, let me regrab that. Sorry guys. All right, so we're gonna price that baby 75. Go. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue on.
Oh, don't apologize to me for doing your job. Apologize to you for running over you.
No, we're good. So what do you got? What are your?
All right. Well, before we get in the panda stuff, what I thought I'd do is because most people haven't. Anybody who ordered them probably got them already, but I bought the patents. So there's the 5 ounce silver right there.
Yeah, I've got it in a box. I haven't opened it up yet, but I got one too.
Oh, they're nice. The 5-ounce coins are just. I don't care who makes a 5-ounce coin. I love
Right?
2-ounce coins, but
No, I love
I.
these. They're doing them because of the no edge like that and just stamping
Mm-hmm.
them, wishing them out like that. I love that idea. So I
Well, and
like.
the thing is if you take it out, it's really rough. It's really like a rough edge, you know. Um, it's you just don't see that. And then I bought 2 1/10s. If you order the tenths, this is the way they send them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cool. I have not got one of the tints, but I thought about it. I pondered it.
And then I bought 2 of them. I've gotten to a point where when I do stuff like this, I'm buying at least 2 or 3. So I got a couple of them to go through, and I bought them. I'm keeping the best one for myself, but if I need to turn something over for cash, then there you go. It came in focus.
You bet.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm gonna actually move the camera because see, the longer I've been in the country, the more I talk like that. My parents were alive; they were both school teachers. They'd be pulling their hair out. Oh. Anyway, okay, let's see. We start at 2006 in the graded, or I'm sorry, we start at 1996 in the graded and go all the way up to 2013. And they're MS69s or MS70s. I've got quite a few still that are in the capsules that they come in. I've got some that are still in the mint packaging. What I'll do is I'll move the camera out and I'll look at the.
There and yeah, no doubt, right? That's how it usually works.
Yep. So, and the thing is that I started with the Morgans, and then I had gotten just a Panda for the heck of it, and I just really fell in love with the way they change the design every year. There's a couple of years where I think they rolled over. I'd have to go back and look at them. I haven't had them out for, oh man. Well, when I was buying them, I would open up the NGC holder and stick them in there. And I actually had to take them, the little Ziploc bags they come in when you buy them.
Yeah.
I still had all in those. I had to take them all out of the Ziploc bags. I store them in the Ziploc bags. I don't want the cases or anything getting scratched up on them. But
yeah. So
it's
we got a no bid on this 2013 Panda.
Whoa.
You said you had an MS69 on the 2013 though, because you don't want this one. I'm saying because I'm no.
Oh no, I'm good. Let's see. I've got 2 MS70s in 2013, both with different. One has the Panda label and one has the blue label. And I've got them. Like I said, I've got them. I'm done buying Pandas.
Okay, cool. Yeah, have they done well?
I got plenty, don't you think?
Well, I heard people talking about them. Like if you got in early, they did pretty good, really.
Well, yeah, most of them, the MS69s. I was buying these from MCM for like $28 to $32, depending. And it finally got up eventually when they got up and they want friggin' $80 to $100 for an MS70. I was like, nah, I think maybe I'm going to hold, because that's what they want for them now. Maybe not quite as much anymore because of the amount that they're making, and they don't weigh what they used to weigh.
All right, hold on. We got Southeast Stacker. Welcome in, sir. Good to see you. Up next, we're going to go with just a little bit of gold. Just since it's running wild, we might as well put some of it up. In case anybody's interested. So we're going to put up this Gold Eagle. And it's a First Strike MS69. These are going for like $300 plus on it. Let's see. Let's just see. I'll check it out in a second. But we're going to start this out. Price to move. 2020 Gold Eagle. So yeah, 2020 is a good year for kicking things off, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was perfect for me. I had always planned on retiring in 2020, and if there was ever going to be any doubt in my mind, well, I was going to do it or not, then the pandemic was like, that's it. I am getting away from 7 million people. It has to happen now. The
Yeah.
collar counties, that's how many live in the collar counties. I think maybe even more than that now.
Okay, we're gonna go. This baby's price to move. We're gonna go 275. We're gonna jump over here, do some comps on these things. So yeah, if you were to try to buy this over on AppMex, you're looking at 323 for the 2024. Yeah, 335 random year. So they got them 325, 335, and we're starting this baby out at 275. So yeah, so you got some pandas, and so with back to the honey a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How, like, do you harvest comb very often? Like you say, you don't really have comb. You kind of have it on a plate. Is that right?
Yeah, no, what it is I use plastic foundation.
Okay.
And I could actually cut it off of there, like use a spatula and cut it and take it off of there, but it would only be one cell deep. And the honeycomb, normally, I haven't cut it or used it natural comb, but in natural comb, they'll draw a comb in a hive and it'll all be just wax, and you'll have combs on each side of it.
Yeah.
And not a piece of plastic down the middle of it. It takes them longer to draw it out, but then what you would do is you would cut that whole rectangle off the frame, and then they have a little cutter, like a cookie cutter, that you'd go and cut the squares out and then put them in a package specifically designed for, I think it's a 4-inch by 4-inch square.
Yeah.
I haven't ever bothered. Let me tell you what, we do this in the house, drawing out the honey. And I've got a big kitchen, and the island is 7 feet by 3.5 feet. It's big. And I've got a big kitchen. We decided when we built the house, we wanted a big kitchen and a big living room. And so we bring it in here, and because it's easier just to clean the honey and the wax up off the floor. And then I don't have bees harassing us while we're doing it. But we're talking, it's a mess. It's a mess just doing that, let alone cutting comb. I can only imagine how messy cutting comb would be.
Interesting.
So, and a lot of people like it. I like it. I don't like to swallow the wax, even though you can. It's supposed to be beneficial.
Yeah,
it's more like gum when you get done with it,
My brother had allergies when he was young, and that was one of the things was we went and like toured several honey places, and he would get it, like you were saying, in those little plastic 4x4s with the honeycomb, and he was supposed to eat the honeycomb as well, was the whole big deal about it. But
yeah, yep. And that they say, and I can only tell you what I know. I'll get this simple right off the bat. So most of the people that know me, I got a real adversity to people telling me what they think unless I ask them, because I'm not really big on telling people what I think. I kind of stick with what I know. And if I don't know what the answer is, then I was always taught, go find somebody that does, So some of the questions you asked me, that's why there's a lot of stuff that I've learned, and I've been hitting the head so many times that I'm getting to the age now where some of the stuff is just lost forever. It's like making a record skip over, with a needle, So
yeah, that brings up another subject. So you got some vinyl over there, I see as well, huh?
Oh yeah, that's that started with, I think my very first record was a Monkees record. I know my very first LP was, because now I'm dating myself, but I was still in junior high in 1969, and I didn't start high school until 72, and but in 69 I was already mowing lawns, and I wanted money, man. I started making sure I had allowance. I started painting people's fences, whatever it took to earn money, because that meant freedom. That also meant that when I turned 16, I'd have enough money to buy a car. And my dad saw to that. He wasn't going to let me drive any of his. I learned on it, but I wasn't going to get to take it out driving. So it kind of instilled, behavior, but I kind of just derailed myself on the whole thing, because my mind is playing back. I'm telling the story, and I'm thinking about the day my dad said, "Do you want to drive a car when you're 14?" And I said, "Yes." And I've told the story to other people, and he said, "Good, get a job, because you're not driving my car." Whenever that story comes up, I kind of like have this deja vu movie play in the back of my head, standing in the driveway and him pointing at what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. But so take me back to the original question, please.
Oh yeah, well,
if you can, because you're asking questions and you're multitasking at the same time.
Oh yeah, I'm lost too. No, yeah, I was just wondering about the honeycomb, because I want to find somebody who I can move some of those products around and make it part of, my channel.
Yeah, I'm not big enough. I'm not big enough for that. Little bursts of it here and there. I would prefer, if at all, to keep myself right at the 5 hives, but it's difficult, because that's the thing is, once you start raising bees, and you start catching swarms, and all this stuff's really so much more expensive than it was just 6 or 7 years ago. I mean, it's amazing how the prices for this stuff has completely escalated, and I think they're pushing a lot of people away from this. I mean, what are you going to do? This is where we're at with an economy, and what things have to be paid for, and what it costs to move stuff around. So, but yeah, we were back on the wax thing, and where I was going to go with that was, I just don't have the production wise to get big enough to, provide you with enough that, that's one of those things where it can get, people start to decide and they like what you want. This is what starts businesses and kills businesses. And, do you really want to end up on Shark someday? Maybe you do. You're still a young guy. I'm at the point now where I've spent the last 40 years working so that when I retired, I was on pure subsistence and having more than I needed, just because I like to do the work that it takes. People are like, "You're going to retire. What are you going to do?" I said, "I'll work harder when I'm retired than I did when I worked." And people say, "Oh, that's nuts." But for the time being, that's going to keep me, I'm in pretty darn good shape for my age. And I'm still splitting wood, and I get bored, I'll go out and split with a 6-pound maul for 2 hours. I'll be sore for 2 days now, where it was only like a half a day when I was younger. But still, the ability to provide the volume that you might need if things take off would be over the top for me.
Sure. No, yeah. And I mean, I'm not,
I'll sell you all the asparagus you want.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool that you have some, and I know there's other people out there that have more, and I don't know if they'd be interested in helping me either. But I mean, it's nice that you can experience just the whole beekeeping thing is interesting.
Yeah, I've turned all the things that I wanted to do for fun when I was younger, that I maybe experimented with or I wanted to do, but I couldn't, and now I can.
Yeah, cool.
And now I'm gonna, and that's what I'm gonna do. I bought a sawmill. My dad was a high school shop teacher, so I was raised around woodworking and tools, and I can build just about anything that needs to be built. My outbuildings here, I've been putting them up, designing them, and putting them up myself. And I've got ash trees that are dying all over the place. Most of them are dead now, but my chicken coop I designed the whole thing, and I planted pine trees here 40 years ago, white pine. So, and they never got thinned the way they were supposed to. So I had plenty of pine wood for the structure wood on the inside, but the chicken coop is done with all white ash. It's all board and battened on the outside, and the inside is pretty much all pines and ash that I cut here off the property and milled. And the only other stuff that I used was I bought treated wood that needed to be where it needed to have treated wood. The woodshed, same thing. And this year I'm going to try to get up a full shed to cover the sawmill so it's not sitting out in the open. Yeah. So that's one of this year's projects, get that started up and spend about a whole week just burning, sawing wood. But and back to the flower thing, this is where I derailed myself, was the bees having enough. What I do is I don't like to really use a lot of fertilizer. When I do, I use some regular granular 12-12-12, a balanced fertilizer, and I use a high nitrogen on my sweet corn. But everything else that's all it is. And I use lime because my soil is like 5.5 pH here. It's a little acidic. But
hold up for a second.
Go ahead.
I got Southeast Stacker in here, and he says he really likes this particular Engelhard. This is a 1985, and I paid a pretty penny for this because it's in pretty nice condition, and I help T out. But what price would make you make an offer that you can't resist there, Southeast Stacker? Because I kind of want to send you a sticker as well that I haven't got around to yet. And what would make you happy? Oh, you already have one. Okay, I thought you were looking for this one. All right, we're going to count this down as a no bid then. In 3. In 2. In 1. And we are a no bido. Thank you for your consideration on that one. What was that noise? Was that you? Was that you that made that noise there, Clear Lake?
No.
It's interesting.
I don't think so. Unless the microphone I'm wearing picked up like some tummy gurgling or something.
Oh, it's like a weird winking noise.
Nope.
I can get my software to give a thumbs up. There you go. All right, so we are moving on. What do we got next? Let's see. So that was Prospector.
Yeah, you can see my hand on the screen. I'm actually got my elbows on the table and looking down, following the chat on the wife's phone.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to chat on there because then you'll figure out who she is. She's like, don't do that. I said, I'll make you a star. It's not like Lassie talking to his neighbors.
All right, let's get a little bit of platinum. So this piece of platinum is a Kookaburra 2022. Yeah. And this is my last Kookaburra 10th ounce of the different years. So they've had 3 years in which they've put out kooks, and this is my last spare. So this is my last 10th ounce platinum until they come out with the next year. So
is that 23?
This is 2022.
Is it? The 2021 I bought I went on eBay and it was worth a good $35-40 more than what I paid you for it.
I'm glad you noticed that, because that's...
Yes, I would really appreciate that. And what I appreciate even more was nobody else bidding against me so I could have it. Thank you all that were there that night.
do. I'm glad I was able to get some good deals on those. This one was not quite as good as my other 3 platinum deals I've been really happy to do with people. This one I got to go a tidbit higher, but it is a 2022 and it is going for a lot more on eBay or anywhere else that I can find than I'm going to be putting it up for right now. So.
Yeah, the older the dates on those, the more they are.
Yeah, that first one, the first edition is pricey now to try to get a hold of it. Yep. Luckily I got in kind of early with them, so I passed that off to you guys.
Yeah. Have you put an opening bid on that yet? I didn't hear one.
Typing it in here if I can. Going for 140 on this. 140. Let's see what we got on the. Oops, wrong one.
Yeah, I actually put both of the platinums I got from you in a bigger airtight.
Okay.
That it's actually about the size of a quarter. It holds 1/10 ounces in it. I think an eagle will fit in it as well. But the little tiny plastic capsule, it was so small to touch and hold it. I was like, I'm gonna lose this thing if I don't watch it. I need something bigger to keep an eye on it.
Yeah. I'm looking for comps on these, and they don't even have any available right now on.
Not
yeah, here's one for 170.
Yeah.
Let's take a
That's because platinum took a jump. Everybody's getting nervous, and
platinum not too bad. It went up a bit, but it's palladium that really jumped.
Yeah, that was amazing. Still, when I saw it, just completely amazing.
Yeah, so we got it over here at 1.6 now. Is the only piece I could find. So what else you got over there on your property? You got some owls. You got some bees.
Well, I got the bees. We got the deer. Because I don't have a dog, and I go out and I hunt, but I've killed enough deer over the last since 1981 that if I'm hunting for food, then I'll shoot a fat doe, and I like to shoot a younger one from the year before because it's kind of like having veal, really. Because by the time hunting season opens, they're just barely off of breast milk and on solid, and they don't weigh much, and so we don't share it because it is like veal. It's pretty darn good eating. But other than that, I haven't killed a deer since I shot one in 2020. I haven't shot one because at this stage of the game, it's me and the big buck, and they're hard enough to kill around here because there's enough people hunting them that actually shooting a big buck with a bow and arrow, or even a gun for that matter, is a big deal. So as long as I still have some of the freezer coming out, then this year I'll end up having to shoot one just to keep the meat source running. But plenty of deer, and the turkeys, like I said, they're here. You don't see them. Squirrels, bunnies, all that kind of stuff.
Is that whitetail or mule deer?
Whitetail, yeah. Yep, whitetail. That's the only thing we have here.
That's awesome. That's the good stuff.
We've just started. You have to have a special permit from it, but and I haven't seen one this year. But I've had pictures on the trail cam, and I've actually taken pictures. I'd have to go on my phone for still, but I've got pictures of bobcats. Thinking they can try to catch a bird out of my bird feeder.
Silver Boy Blues at 140 and 3 in 2 in 1. And we are SOLD. Sold the 2 Silver Boy Blues. Thank you very much, Silver Boy Blues. That keeps you up at the top of the board. Beautiful. Silver blue. All right. Next up, we have anybody out there interested in a 1921 Morgan? You got your 1921, which would be the beginnings of the Morgan, first year.
1978 or 1878, I mean.
1921 is the, or wait, no, that's the
That's
end.
the last year. Yeah, that's the last year.
The last year of the Morgan, 1921, and then they went to the Peace. That's where I was.
Yeah, and they made them both in 1921, and the Morgans came out first while the Peace were going into production.
Right. And this is evidently a Philly, no mint mark.
And Homestead Aquarius is exactly right. I see where he says Clear Lake Drive is getting them local groceries. You betcha. I don't know what was going on this year. They must really like the rye I planted in the fields this winter. I've been planting rye for the last 2 years as a cover crop. And we've got our local deer, and I know who those are. We see them enough, and it's easy to tell them apart after you see them as much as I do. But we've got a herd of like 15, 18 more of them that have showed up that have come up from the river, and the river's over a mile away from the bottomlands or whatever, because nobody down there has any winter wheat in, because it may get flooded out in the spring. So why plant it when the river comes up? And the river bottom's a mile all the way across, and I actually have pictures of trees, 80-foot trees, floating by when it was in flood stage. Wow. But they're up here because I've got a food source, and the winter wheat, everybody's spraying it, has already sprayed it, and the stuff's really getting tall. My rye is just doing what it does, and they like it, and they've been mowing. It looks like they're keeping it mowed. So I've attracted all these deer. I'm hoping when the weather gets nice and they get ready to fawn, they get the Sam hell out of here and go someplace else and stop eating everything.
All right, hold on here. I gotta talk about this Morgan. I don't believe, I am no expert on cleaning there, but I do not believe, from what I can tell, this looks very original. That's kind of one of the reasons I liked it. It's not that it's in the best of shape, but I don't believe it has been cleaned, no. And when you're looking on the back there, most of the breast feathers are gone, but you can see where they are. So no, I do not believe
most of the Morgans actually have really lightly stamped breast feathers.
Right.
And then the ones when the dyes start going crappy, then it's hard to tell whether they wore off or if it's just a bad stamp. I can since you've got the Morgans out, I was hoping you'd get to that. I actually have an 82, 83, and 84 Carson City from the GSA Horde.
Oh, nice.
And NGC. Go ahead.
We got Silver Boy Blue says, hey, LLC Southeast had a question about Cash App. Okay, sorry, Southeast. I'm sorry if I missed it. Let me go find it. Long live. Do you take Cash App? I do take Cash App. It's just the $sign and then long live coins. So I do take Cash App. And the way I do it, Southeast Stacker, is you can bid and buy as many things as you want. And then at the end of the night, if you just send me an email at longlivedcoins@gmail.com, at the bottom of the screen there, you can see it. And if you just send me an email, I will respond with a invoice that you can pay through that invoice. And if Cash App is not available in there, then I can just send you through email my Cash App info, and you can pay that way. So yeah, after the show, as this is over, just send me an email to longlivecoins@gmail.com, and we'll level up that way. Appreciate the question, and yeah, sorry, go on ahead there. And we got Silver Boy Blues at 30 on this with with I'm going to go ahead and start counting it down here to him. Silverboy Blues at 30 and 3. In 2. In 1, we got Silverboy Blues at $30 taking this Morgan home. We are SOLD. Sold the Silverboy Blues at $30. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you, Silverboy Blues. Greatly appreciated. Next up is going to be all right. Next up, and for anybody who didn't see, we still have the prospector. Oh, I'm sorry, over here. Trying to learn how to do things here. So over here we have the prospector. This is from the Regency Mint. Okay, this particular prospector is from the Regency Mint. I've got these at $29. Buy it now, $29. They are 1 ounce that you can break into 4 quarter-ounce pieces, and it's from the Regency Mint. And it's just kind of the emblem of a prospector there on the river. So I've got 2 of those at $29 if anybody wants those. And I'm going to put up right now a 2016 silverback. Going. These are brand new out of the tube, brand new capsules. Beautiful gorilla. 2 elephants on the back with a lion in the middle there. Frosty around the edges, kind of a reverse proof look on the back there. I really like these. 2016 silverback gorilla from Scottsdale Mint. Let me get you back up here. 2016. Go. And let's see what these are over on. So what else you know over there, Clear Lake?
All right. Well, what I was going to show you was I brought these out. Another one of those show buys, and the guy wanted, I think, 2 1/4 or $2.35 or something a piece for them. And I was like, well, I'll buy all 3 of them if you'll take me down to $195. And we settled at 200. So I ended up scoring the 82, 83, and 84 MS64 Morgans from the GSA Horde and NGC certification. These were at a show probably 20 years ago, but if I can get it to focus. There you go. Is it focusing?
I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page right now. Yeah, that's good. Let me get you up here on front here. Well, I can't do that because of the. But yeah, that looks good. Yep.
That's what an MS64 would look like. I think grading was a lot harder back then. They were more critical. I mean, so many coins are being made crappy by our mint this year or now that they've laxed, they've accepted that finning and all that other stuff is part of the grading system. I don't kind of fly with that, but tell me if I can get this focused so you can see the breast feathers on the CC, because these are nice coins.
Not quite yet.
How about there?
Not quite. It's not grabbing it. It's kind of blurred still. I mean,
All right, I've got to take it farther away. That's why.
It might be getting close there. That's pretty good. But now you're so far away you can barely see them. But they look.
Yeah,
I can see it. It's a nice piece for sure.
They've got that nice pinwheel luster, but the lighting in here is pretty crummy. In the dining room, it's made for low light and eating food and mood.
Yeah,
but yeah, and that's the Morgans and the Pandas kind of were the thing that I jumped in, and then we got off along the way where the school system sucked. So private education was where the kid was going to get her education, and that was that. And then buying the land to kind of sidestep. You're not spending any money stacking when you're paying 2 mortgages, taxes for 2 houses. You're only living at 1. Then you're putting a kid through private school.
Yeah. What do you got? You don't need to tell me, but you got a decent spread of land there? Or?
Well, 40 acres. Okay. I bought the first 20, and then the second 20 came up when the fella that brought me down here hunting passed. The deal was when I bought the land that so someone else wouldn't buy it next to him, that if his kids didn't want it, then they would sell. His wife would sell it to me if something happened where they had to sell it, and that's how I ended up with it. But the kick in the pants is that was over 30 years ago for both of them, and I paid $700 an acre for the land back then, and they told me I paid too much. No. And I'm not even going to go anywhere with you with what it sells for now. But
oh man,
I couldn't have bought that much gold and had it be worth as much as the land is, and now it's got a house on it. So
yeah,
it was one of those things. Had to make a decision.
No, that was good.
And I made the right one. But I made a decision in my 20s that was going to get me to, if I lived, to where I wanted to be when I retired. And I got news. I darn near got myself killed about 5 times in between all that time and got spared. So God has something intended for me. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but he's got me hanging around for something.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, and talk about something like I luckily stumbled into my house, and at the right time. What was it? Right at the end of 12, beginning of 2013. I was like 6 months away from probably the perfect timing. And then, it went from under 100,000 to now it's like 450, and I could probably even do more than that because of some of the accessories I have here now. So
yeah.
But then you got to find something else. So it's like unless you go, have someone you can move in with you, and move it all into gold. Like I thought about doing that. Sell your house, put it into silver really right now, and then once it revalues and your housing drops, because I think that's kind of the cycle we're in right now. But for me, I can't do anything about it because I'm living here, so it doesn't really. I just got, pay more now on taxes, but.
Well, the nice part about this is that the financing on the house at the time when we built the house was 2.5%. I mean, come on.
Nice. Yeah.
What the hell? There's when the opportunity arises, I have found that if you believe in yourself and you believe that you are truly willing to do what it takes, are you willing to? Do you want something bad enough to work 3 jobs? Are you? I mean, there was a period of time there where I was a paid-on-call firefighter. So I was paid to show up on a point system and get paid. If I did duty shifts, sometimes they lasted the full 24. Most of the time they were short 8 hours because we had a day shift. But there were 2 days a week. I went in at 4 o'clock in the morning and stayed until 7 a.m. And then I went to my regular job. But before that, before I had the regular real job, I owned a tree business. I was an ISA certified arborist. That's how I got the job with the city. I was a staff arborist for the Public Works Department, and I had a director, and we ran the grounds department. Then the city took over the park district, and so then all that fell under our responsibility as well. So that's a little past history on me and with the flowers and the trees and the birds and the bees type of thing. It's in the blood. On the German side of the family, we're farmers forever, and except not for me. So I went and got my own.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I
literally
ranch and a farm, so I sure miss it. But
well, it's a hobby farm. I mean, I've got ways. I've got the chickens. You know, they lay more eggs than we can eat. I got the asparagus, and I've got the fields. I could grow if I had to. I could grow more food for people if I wanted to. But right now, we'll go all the way back to where we're at about the bees and how to feed them. Just keep me up on the time, and then I'll watch close enough, and hopefully I'll be able to pull out, and you won't have to stop me. Well, it's done already, huh? Are you starting?
We're good on. Yeah, I'm about to start on these 10-ounce bars here. I'm lining up some 10-ounce bars. So we're gonna start these 10-ounce bars off. We're bidding on one bar, whichever one you want. We're gonna start these at $2.60. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna get this written in, and we're gonna have 10-ounce bar.
Well, for what it's worth, the last time I bought a 10-ounce bar I paid $2.80 for it.
And she's up now, so this is an amazing deal in my opinion. So I'm hoping she goes up from this point, but we're going to start her at $2.60. And you have your pick. Whoever comes out on top of the bidding, you can take your pick out of the 3 bars. So, yeah, what were you talking about?
All right, yeah, back to it. So anyway, basically, I've got a huge garden. So we're still eating green beans, yellow beans, and green peppers and red peppers and orange peppers from the fall, and sweet corn. And it's all, we freeze it all. I've got a dehydrator and a vacuum packer. So we vacuum, you know, she parboils it, we vacuum pack it and freeze it. And as long as we have electricity, then the freezer works. And if it doesn't, I can go probably 3 or 4 days on fuel. And fortunately for me, I'm getting off track here a little bit. We got down here in 2020, and they yanked all the poles out and put 3-phase in. So now I'm on the main line. I got a whole bunch of poles. I got all the aluminum wire that they stripped off of them for scrap sitting out there for a rainy day. But I don't have to really worry about electricity, because of the power outage, they're coming down the main line on wherever they're going that was called, so they can check the main lines on the way out to wherever the outage is. So unless the plant goes down, then got pretty reliable electricity. But back to the property and the land and the bees. I pretty much do a rotation. I've got property that I constantly plan on all the time, and then I've got a whole section that runs right down the center of the length of it for about 275 yards, and it's all a blend of white clover and winter hardy alfalfa. And I'll let that go 4 or 5 years, and then reseed it a couple of times. But when it starts going bad, then I disc it all under, and then I move before I do that, I start another row next to it, and then I disc it in, and then I'll plant it. All the rest of the open property in the spring, I wait till it warms up, and we'll do this from like the very first time I did it. I plant buckwheat, and I plant it as soon as it's warm enough that it'll come up and won't be frosted out, because it's very, very tender. The bees love it, and the deer will eat it. It's a legume. Buckwheat. I plant the buckwheat. Buckwheat, yes, sir. Like buckwheat pancakes, you can eat it, you can grind it, but buckwheat is not wheat. It is a legume like a bean. That's in that family. So it's a nitrogen fixer for the soil, and it's tender, and the deer, once they figure out that they can eat it, will. But I put that in first, and then in about a third of the land that's tillable. Then 2 weeks later to 3 weeks, I do it again, further down in another parcel of land, and then I do it again. So I have, for a month and a half, I have a planting going on here 2 weeks apart so that it's all at a different stages. The first buckwheat comes up, it goes to flower. The bees are on it like flies on you know what. You walk out there and anything that is a pollinator that needs pollen is in that buckwheat, and all you hear is all these different frequencies. Oh, I only hear it if my hearing aids are in, but you hear this zzz, and there's bugs just flying all over the place, and the bees are just knocking the stuff out, and the clover is blooming. And when it starts to dry up and go to seed, I mow it, and then it blooms again. So I keep that going all summer long, and then when the first batch, by now we've gone like a month and a half, and the first batch is tall enough, it's almost ready to seed. As soon as it starts producing seed, then I take forage green soybeans, and the forage soybeans will grow pods with seeds in them, but it's designed to be eaten on, so it won't kill it by them eating the deer and everything, eating the bean plant itself. It keeps it small, but it keeps growing. It doesn't hurt it. And I sprinkle that. I go out there. This stuff's like up to my armpits. I got to go out in the morning and do it before it gets active with all the insects. But I spread with a hand spreader the soybean and spread it all inside of it. And then I take the. Do you need to do something?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. Go ahead.
We got these 3 10-ounce bars here, your choice, and we're starting at $2.60, and so far I've got no bid.
It's $26 an ounce. That ain't bad.
Yeah, from what spot near 25 now, 24.50.
Oh yeah, pretty close to 25.
It's an amazing deal there. So, but yeah,
it won't.
No bid.
It might not be next week.
No bid in one, and we are going no bido. All right, continue on.
Okay, and so I spread the green beans inside.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Keep going?
Yep, keep going.
Okay, I spread the green beans. I broadcast spread the green beans into the buckwheat. Then I go get the tractor, and I've got a bucket on the front, and then, of course, I've got a drag blade for the back. I turn the drag blade backwards, and I tilt it so its edge is pointed up, and it's tapered at an angle to the curved side down, so that it's not going to dig in, it's going to cut, it's going to roll over it. And what I do is you go over the buckwheat, and because it's so tender, this stuff's like 3.5, 4 feet high, it just snaps off, and it just lays flat. And it ends up being a carpet over the beans. Well, they fell through it. The plants, the buckwheat smothers out all the weeds and everything, at least 90% of it. So there's bare soil down there underneath it. The seeds fall through, make contact with the soil, and then I cover it with this buckwheat. Well, the buckwheat forms a blanket over it, and it decomposes really, really fast, especially if you get rain. And then it acts like straw on top of the seed. You don't need to disc in the seeds. They're covered. And so the beans come up with it. And then now I still have another field just getting ready to go into flower. And the one that I planted in the middle, all the bees and insects just move over to that one. And then I do this again, and I do this again. And then hunting season rolls along, and the one that I did first, then if they haven't eaten all the beans or whatever, they're on the areas where away from my stand. What I do is I go ahead and disc that in, and then I spread daikon radishes, purple top turnips, and collards seeds in there. After it's disked, and I got a rear rototiller for the back of the tractor, so after it's disked, I till it all up, and it's just like nice, fine soil. And the seeds, all they have to do is have contact, so I broadcast it, and then I drive over it and pack it down. I need a cultipacker is what I need, but that works. And then now I have that for the deer all winter, and that'll have the turnips on it, and I rotate back and forth every year, but that'll have the turnips on it. And then as we head on farther into the winter, then the other fields, the one closest along the edge of the woods, I plant in winter oats. First couple of nights where it's below 20, that'll kill it. But the first cold nights, it won't kill it, makes it really sweet. And of course, it's right along the edge of the forest. Well, I've got my stand there, and the deer come from the woods, And they stage up in the woods before they come out to feed on the oaks. In the middle of field, all of it, then I plant winter rye, which lasts all the way until now. It's green out there. It's growing. It's like the winter wheat. I'll wait until that's about 8 inches high, and then I'll disc all that under, and then all the nutrients, the macronutrients that absorbed gets turned back into the soil as green manure, and all the nitrogen and the minerals and everything are in there. Now they decompose, they become micronutrients that are easier for the plants, and then I start the whole system again, and I just pop every year, go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I don't use any fertilizer. I use lime, and that's it for that. The only thing I use the granular fertilizer for is for boosting stuff in the garden proper and for the asparagus. All the wildlife plat, and then of course I'm eating turnips and collards and daikon radishes, and and the deer are eating them. They don't even eat any of that until after we get into winter, and then they start eating the greens, and then the starch in the spring, the sugar content, if there's turnips left that they didn't eat in the winter, well, as soon as they start smelling, man, they're eating like raw sugar, and when it's cold, then they need that. It's like the corn; it doesn't have any real protein, but the starches in it convert to sugar, and it helps keep them warm if it's really cold. And it was in January. We haven't had a January like this in years, where we had below zero, temperatures, and right above zero, and 10, 12, 15 below wind chill. We haven't had a January like that here. And now, like I said, we just had a 78. We had 70s in February. The year we built the house, when I came down here, we built the house in the end of February, started building it, and it was in the 70s then. So wild weather we're going to have. It's always something, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so that's my process. So my bees always, and then of course the weed patches I've got a whole creek bottom that's all filled with, goldenrod and ragweed, and they don't really use the ragweed, but they like the goldenrod. And that's like their last ditch thing for fall. And right now, yesterday we swung through Vincennes. I wanted to go to I think I told you, my LCS, and it was closed. And I'm driving a long ways to go pick up some coinage yesterday, and he's closed for 3 days.
So it was at 20.
But the maple trees were dropping pollen. The hard maples, there's red, pollen, or the little bud things from the trees. I'm having a brain fart here again. But on the streets where we're driving by, so farther south, for me, in the very, very south part of the state, it's been warm enough that the maple trees are budding. And we get a hard freeze, it's going to screw them up, but good.
Yeah, that's kind of, that can be a worry coming up. Same thing kind of here. We got stuff popping up, and it's pretty early.
See, last year we did this in March. It got really warm, and then we got a cold snap where we had 2 days just barely above freezing and nights down like in the high teens and the 20s. And my cherry trees were in flower, and all my early season peaches were in flower. Guess what we didn't have last year? No cherries and no peaches. I've got 3 season type apples, 2 season type peaches, but the cherries are what they are. They do what they do when they do it. I don't have anything out there that I can, plant that flowers late and then fruits late, so that you have later fruit in the fall. We still got yellow delicious apples. I've got over 30 fruit trees that I put in the orchard.
Oh yeah, and those fruit for you without trouble? Do you have much trouble with your fruit trees there, or you get pretty good fruit?
No, this year is going to be the first year that I'm actually going to spray. I said the only trouble I have with them is where we're at. If I get this cold weather and they're in full flower, it burns the flowers off of them and I don't get fruit. But I still have insect issues, and the trick to it is I have never ever sprayed my trees. Not even, and here I'm an arborist, but I'm adamant. I'm not a real big fan of using chemicals for anything. I use Roundup in the driveway, but I hate spraying that crap. Then the bees get that stuff on them, and they take it, and you'll find it in the wax. So, that's a bad thing. So
you find what in the wax?
The Roundup the glyphosate.
Oh, yeah, that's
So, no,
all right, so
no.
thanks, Boy Blues, for that pickup. I got you $27. So we're gonna do one more piece here, and we're gonna wind it down. We've been up for a little over a couple hours now, so I'm gonna do one more piece. I'm gonna do a comp off of eBay, and we're gonna be doing this piece right here, the Who. So I'll pull up a comp, but okay, go ahead there.
Clear Lake. You know what? We should both. I probably don't need to be slurping coffee. Maybe you need a little hit. I had some this afternoon. That was probably. I'm still pretty wound up. I'll probably be up watching TV for a while. But what I was going to interrupt and say is the phone battery has been putting along right here at 10% for about the last half hour. I was going to warn you that it may die on me here, but it's hanging in there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this looks like it's all clean. It's a little scuffed on the capsule, but the coin is good. So let me go pull up some comps here. So yeah, go ahead while I'm getting comps.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I just happened to look down. I don't know how far behind it I am. Oh, no, it's current on the wife's phone. I see where Liberty Bleeds says, nice, Neil. Have you tried blueberry bushes? I actually have 8 of them in a planter outside in the backyard, and I've got 8 more that I got to put in another planter. I used to grow them in pots on the porch. At the house where I lived in Chicago, I had built a 16 by 10 solarium on the back of the house. It was a bi-level, and you would come out, the basement door was like, the basement's like half underground. And so I had built a solarium. For years, I was doing bonsai trees. It was a good way to really learn some technique for arboriculture, and was doing bonsais. And we had a winter that screwed that all up and killed thousands of dollars worth of trees and stuff in there I didn't have insured. But because I couldn't be down here and it wasn't fenced in, and I couldn't keep the deer from eating them because I tried, I was growing blueberries on the patio. The whole patio on the house had fruit trees and pots and blueberries, and the greenhouse was constantly filled with stuff. And I had been starting all my seeds for up there and down here. And, I'm going to get back. I got to get my seeds started now because it looks like spring. Normally I would have done it this time anyway, but it looks like spring is going to come early. But yep, I got about 4 or 5 different kinds of blueberries, and I don't even remember what they all are. I've had them. I brought the plants with me and cut them all back down and root trimmed them and started, and they're just getting big again. But there ain't nothing like, it's just like picking an apple off a tree. The blueberry, fresh fruit off of a vine or a bush or a tree is just,
yeah,
it's awesome.
We have some raspberries and some other little bushes that are pretty good, but I don't know. We have squirrels for one thing that get, like, our neighbors have a couple pear trees, but they have trouble even getting any with the squirrels getting at them. So
yeah, see, there's so much for the wildlife down here. I'm circumventing it with the food plots because basically the rye and that, it aids me in planting the other stuff that I'm going to plant, but it's all part of my circular system of the nutrients for the soil and providing food for the wildlife. It all takes care of itself, in one big circle. But I've got hickory trees and white oaks and black oaks and walnut. I've got 3 different kinds of hickory trees, maybe 4. There's just, even on a bad year for the squirrels, and there's just so much to eat down here that and there would be never ending to it if the modern farming didn't have you disking everything in the fall, So I'd like to see more of the farmers start doing rotational food plots and using green manure.
Yeah, no doubt.
It'd be better for everybody, and they claim that it would be expensive, but I think they'd almost be about even core. They could always touch up their, it's like the wheat. They always spray that early. They spray the corn with nitrogen just before the ears set to give it a big boost. And they do that with the planes. That'll be patient because depending upon which way the wind is, they usually start to my west and work to the east and with a crop duster, and he's coming over my house low enough because he's going to go over the next set of woods and drop down and do the fields that I can see him in the cockpit. So I should have some pretty good video of that for YouTube this summer and spring. So we'll just have to wait. And we've got still pictures, but until I went on YouTube, I never thought too much about making videos.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm doing now is all the stuff that if you go to my channel and look at all the stuff with the animals and, you know, the cats, we've had some only a couple of years. We've had Lucy for like 5 or 6 or whatever. But, and I've always had dogs, and I just, after the last dog, that was it. You know, I just like, no, the problem is something could happen to both of us. And then where are my cats going to end up? That's the problem about getting to be my age and having animals that can live longer than you, you know? And all you got to do is go to a shelter and, you know, man, you don't want your pets to end up there. You just don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's, would you take, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road. I keep sipping Sal little emails every now and then with emojis and stuff, trying to get him to go to the shelter and get another cat to replace his older, you know, the one that he lost.
Oh.
But he doesn't seem to be falling for it yet.
Oh, okay. Did he had one cat that he was kind of close
to? Yeah, he had 2 cats. His 2 cats actually are on his 2-ounce coins.
Was that his cats? Oh, well, I was wondering.
Yeah, those were his cat. Yeah, his cats.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cat guy.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then Chloe, I don't know. You can see Chloe. She's decided. I think where are we at? She's up here rubbing on the camera. Chloe, who do you think you are? Stop that. Come on. Here, do this. Let everybody get a look at your silly little face. Say hi. She didn't like that. But she's not going to leave. She said, "Oh, you want me on the chair now?" Usually Lucy's the ham. When I was doing my video last spring, about this time, I started deciding the weather was cold, not like this, and I couldn't do the stuff I wanted. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to count the 6 years worth of change I got in my jug. And there's over $1,000 worth of change in there. And so I started going up to the bank and doing roll hunts for $50. And when I went in there, I went in there to make a bank deposit, and I thought, you know what? Give me, I think, what did I get? $50 worth, 5 rolls, and brought them home and went through all of them and found a couple non-intended for circulations, a whole bunch of 70s and 80s that were circulated but were just in unbelievable condition, and some estimate proofs. And I'm like, what the hell, you know? And I thought, and I found 240% Kennedys in there, 266s. And I'm thinking, me and the wife are I'm like, wow. And I did a video of them, not taking them, but, I'm not doing YouTube. I'm not planning on recording roll hunts. This was just something to do. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back to the bank tomorrow and get some more. So I went back to the bank and I got $40 more, $50 more. So now I'm up to $100. And I found more. Well, I know what's going on now because the dates are varied. And I thought, oh crap, somebody died and their grandkids or their kids took your coin collection to the bank and turned in all these estimate proofs for a crummy 50 cents. And so then I started going back over the next couple of weeks because I'm going through all this change, and I'm taking out the quarters that have mint mark. I'm actually looking for errors. I mean, I had a headache for like a month, from eye strain from going through all this friggin' change, and the pennies and stuff. I found all kinds of awesome pennies, but and I still got tons of them to go through. And down here I can get a lot of wheat pennies still. Every time I get change, usually I still get wheat pennies. But anyway, so over the course of a month, I went through $1,000 of 50-cent pieces, and I ended up coming up like in the 70s. I forgot what year it was. 1 year short of all 10 of them, and then there were some doubles and triples of other ones. And then I think when I got to the 90s, I was short 1, 2. But all the rest of them, I made a video about them, were all the complete sets. I hit the center of all that stuff that got turned on in that $1,000 because I was tapping out what they had in the bank stored up in the vault, and it was all in there. And then when I got to the very end of it, I knew, because I went in for the very last time and got $400 worth of stuff and found coins in like 5 rolls, you know, of more proofs. And then all the rest of them were junk. Oh, I found some, you know, 72s and some 74s with the FG missing, or with it hardly there at all. Some, you know, die chip stuff, and the bad part is it's hard to tell what a die chip is on a coin that old if the coin's kind of crappy anyway, you know. But if you look at it under a 10, you can tell. But now I'm going through all these coins looking for errors, and that's what I did for the end of February and all through March last year, every day.
Wow.
But I ended up with over 50 proof Kennedys from all the 70s, and then all the way up to getting in, you know, not intended for circulations, all the way up into the 2000s. Wow. So it was cool. It was great. It was, man, it's like Christmas. The only thing better than that is when you buy some bullion from, or some coins from you, and the mailman brings you stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the stacker's addiction from buying. I know it was mine. You know, especially last year, I really jumped in. I bought a lot of stuff last year, trying to make up for some of the stuff. But we had a lot of great dips last year. I mean, we had some really good ones.
Yeah,
and then
now is definitely the time to be picking it up, in my opinion, as well. So,
well, and I got a great platinum story because I hadn't bought any platinum, and I was going to go ahead and I thought I'd get one from Neil, you know, because he's talking 65 bucks over spot, but I really wanted my first ounce to be a coin, and I'm sorry, but I just can't make myself pay what the mint wants for their Eagles. I don't care, you know. It's like I'll buy Britannias and I'll buy Leafs till hell freezes over because it's a better value for me. But anyway, I'm always checking the market. I'm watching the dip. I got time. I'm not at work anymore because crazy stuff happens, and the bullion dealers on eBay, they'll have special sales, and I'll get emails from them because, you know, I've been an eBayer since 2000, buyer and seller. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, you know, man, next dip, I'm buying an ounce. I don't care. And I'll put it on my PayPal because if it's over 100, I have to pay for it for 6 months. So what's that worth? 6 months? I can go, oh, hell, I can afford $1,000 corn in 6 months. I'll just, you know, save for it. It just got to be paid in 6 months. And then you make the minimum payment. What is it? $40 or something, you know? And so anyway, we had that huge dip. I think it was right at the beginning of February. You know, everything went way down. And Spot, and I always told Sal, I said, man, we get down to 875 bucks. I'm going to buy platinum. And we got down to like 879, and Pinehurst, I think it was. I'll have to look back in my receipts. Sent me a text that you know, said on sale, eBay only, limited amount of random date, 1 ounce Britannias platinum.
Yeah. For
$9.84. And I'm like, hell yeah, today's the day. I've never been screwed by Pinehurst. I've never been screwed by Liberty. People have. Shit happens. SD, any of the big ones, I've never been screwed. I found some of the smaller ones, and I haven't been screwed. You know, you gotta, if you're not getting hurt, then why wouldn't you? You know, and if you got time to pay for it, that little bit extra, being able to budget it out for 6 months and not save up and hope that you're going to have a dip then. It just makes sense. That's how I do it. I've been doing it that way for years. And you just got to be patient and wait for the dip. But anyway, so I bought it, and they sent me a 2021 brand spanking new, just shiniest, beautiful thing you ever saw. And I'm like, oh, cool. I paid $9.84 for this. You know, what are they looking? Oh, I see they're still on eBay. They're still asking for, you know, $1,035 for them. Well, I said, looks like a deal to me, you know. Yep. And so
hold up here, but I'm gonna wind her down here for everybody.
All right.
Hi guys, we got Southeast Stacker Silverboy Blues. You're up on top of the board. You won the preview tonight. Thank you so much for all of your bids and everybody hanging out. I had a lot of fun. Greatly appreciate it. We got Joseph Lopez, Southeast Stacker, Liberty Bleed Silver, Silverboy Blues, Joseph Lopez, Space Miner. We had Neil's Han Dynasty, Homestead Aquarius, OC Stacker. Appreciate all you guys coming in and hanging out. We'll be back this Saturday night with a spin and bin, and next Wednesday with Ian, and shortly coming up we'll have Aaron from Harlan J. Burke on for some ancient coin talk. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up, and thanks for hanging out, guys. We are UFO, no joke. Thanks for being here and hanging out. Greatly appreciate. Shiny man, thank you so much. Always appreciate you guys. And we're gonna catch you on the next one. Lake Drive. Hang out here, and we'll wind it up, and I'll talk a bit more with you here. But everybody else.
Well, I'd like to say goodbye to everybody, and thanks for showing up too. My first taste of live stream, I just figured out the hard way or the easy way, how hard it is to actually sit here and talk with someone while everybody's listening and try to stay with the chat and see what people are saying. And so anybody who would have asked me anything and I didn't see it, I'll try better next time. But it moves fast enough that what happened is when I'm getting derailed here with my brain is I'm trying to read the chat and I'm having that fog where I can't read and process what I'm reading and then finish telling you what you asked me. So it's harder than it looks.
Yeah, when I'm trying to think about coins and listen to you and then follow the chat, it definitely and keep the board. That was
yeah. It's like no, the closest I'm going to get to doing a live stream is when I burn that burn pile I got out there, then that'll be a live stream, and there won't be saying you guys can just all sit around and chat and go ooh and ah and hope I don't burn down half the county. But it'll be dark when we do it. The only thing holding it up right now is the wind and the weather, and I may have visitors from out of the country show up, and if they come, then I'm going to save the burn pile for them because I'm sure my 3.5-year-old grandson would love to see that.
Really, out of the country? You mind sharing?
Yeah, I have family that lives in Britain.
Oh, cool, right on. So they're going to come over and visit. Is that?
I hope so. I can't go anywhere. I got animals to take care of.
Cool, right.
And stuff to plant and stuff to harvest, and I'm not a big time farmer, but I'm using a little tractor, and there's plenty of stuff to do. Man, and I haven't begun to build anything yet. Not really. Need to get going.
I have to admit, I'm kind of jealous. Not only do you have a beehive already, but that 40 acres, man, you could. If I was retired with 40 acres, oh, that's like you're in dream world there. So that's awesome.
Well, if I hadn't have pulled the trigger, and when that first 20 came up, of course, there was a friend acquired that because I was brought down here. Actually, how it all started was I was asked if I wanted to come on a hunting trip, and back then, hell yeah, I was hunting Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois, deer hunting, bow and gun. I was into that big time, and the opportunity to come down here and hunt and meet new people, in my own state or whatever, was just a great opportunity. And you got to be careful what you wish for, because usually what happens is people fall on hard times or people die, and that's how the stuff becomes available. And that's what it was. But the first 20 was, hey, I know you were interested in the property. I got somebody that's willing to buy it. And the 20 that he was selling was right next to the property of the guy that brought me down here, as a guest, and was a friend of the family. And the deal on that one was you got 10 days because this guy wants it. He's willing to pay this. And if you don't want it, then I'm going to sell it to him. And I was like, well, that'll change everything. How things are working down here. And I was like, I can't have it. So I did what I had to do and got that taken care of. And the deal on that was with the guy that brought me down here, I think I told you before, was I'll do this. And I get along with your kids. His oldest son is younger than me, but he's the one that got me into doing tree work. that led me down this road that ended up with the government job and everything that led me to where I'm at now. And he agreed to that deal, a handshake deal, that if anything, if the kids don't want the property, because I don't have a problem with any of the kids, grew up with them all, church, confirmation, blah, 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 next street over. Sold his son my first motorcycle when he wanted a motorcycle and I didn't need it because I had a car, pretty deep stuff there. So it all happened just the way it did. And I was only 27, but it was one of those things where here it is, this is it. You got to make a decision. What are you willing to do for the rest of your life? How bad do you want this? What are you willing to do? And I made the decision. And sometimes this is the decision that's put in front of us, and we get lucky, and it happens when we're young and we choose right. Sometimes it happens when we're older, and then we need to be able to take it on, and we choose wrong. So it goes both ways.
Shiny was asking what state if you're in.
I'm in southeastern Illinois, but I was born and raised in Cook County, just outside of Chicago. I actually grew up in a town that was surrounded by farm fields. And now I watch them build Interstate 57 and Interstate 80. They put Interstate 57 up less than a mile away from my house. Well, a little bit more than a mile, just barely. We used to go play on the friggin' equipment and used to go sledding on the overpasses. And they turned all the property all around it into a forest preserve. The forest preserve came in, and the state came in for the highway, and eminent domain, the farmland for the expressway. And it actually cut up farmers, like property right in half. Big farms, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres, square mile type farms, cut them in half. And the state came in and bought out, and the county came in, and they all bought out the rest of the farms, all in that area, and moved them all out and turned it all into forest preserve. I grew up with the forest preserve, 4 houses. It was farm initially, and when they bought it all out, these people just left. So for like 4 or 5 square miles, all these farms, when I was a kid, we're wandering around out in these farms. I used to walk with a shotgun down the end of the street to go hunting pheasants when I was a kid, and nobody said crap about it. Now, man, if I did it when I lived there earlier, they'd be going, Mr. Thompson's going to kill somebody. They'd be freaking out. But yeah, that's how much things changed. We were surrounded by cornfields, and then it all got planted in forest preserve. And I grew up being like in junior high and a teenager, goofing around in empty farmhouses and playing around in barns, and that's. And then now it's all got, except for the forest preserve, everything's covered in houses or businesses, all of it. Wow. So, and I watched all of that. So this was great. If I need gas or food, it's 10 miles away from here. I got to go. And if I want a Walmart and a Menards, it's 30. I'm out there.
Nice.
I don't have cable TV. I don't have internet. I'm doing all this with data on the phone. We're still hanging tough at 10%. There's a buried telephone line running down the front of the property on the other side of the street. They won't acknowledge that I actually have it, because if I want it, I'm going to have to dig the trench down the 1/8 of a mile long driveway I got and borrow underneath the street to get to it, and then I'll hook it up. There's fiber optic all around me.
Nice.
But I'm kind of landlocked off of it, and I can tell you what, the bus goes by every morning within 3 or 4 minutes at 7 o'clock with the kids and comes home exactly the same time at 4. The mailman is never more than a half an hour late unless something's going on at his home that makes him late. I've got a 40-acre parcel. I'm surrounded by 40s and 100s and 600s, and the river's just a mile and a half away, and so can't complain. And if anybody wants to shoot anything, regardless of what our idiot friggin' governor says, they just walk outside and shoot. Nobody cares because nobody's shooting at anybody else. They're getting ready to, if they have to. So, no, we love it. It's quite a change from before I retired. They rented the house next door, and the knucklehead would get off work at 11 and would blow a number in the friggin' car with a friggin' thump in the wrap, in the driveway. Like I could spit out the window on his windshield. That's how close the houses were, So not here. My closest neighbor is just under a half a mile. And then it's probably another half a mile to the next two because they're across the street from each other. And then probably a half a mile to the next ones. And, you know, they're kind of packed in here, but there's places where I can drive. I can drive for 2 miles and it's just 3 miles and it's just fields. You know, the farms are on the roads that are parallel to it, a half a mile or a mile in. So,
Yeah.
and then because we're close to a river drainage, then any place, you know, I've got a major creek that runs through my property and that branches off and goes farther back into the next section, you know, mile section of 660 acres back. So I've got like a Y or a T, shall we say, with the main creek. It'll never actually goes dry because it's got pools in it, but it's not a running creek. It's a drainage creek. So when there's rain, you know, it's a gully washer. And then over time, if it doesn't rain for a week, then, you know, you can walk up and down it.
Cool.
I haven't panned it for gold yet, but I've got a lot of granite and I've got some dark granite in it too. So that's supposed to be a good sign. Another thing to add to my list of things to do.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to shut this down. So everybody out there in the chat, I appreciate you for coming in, and we're going to catch you guys on the next one.
Me too. It was fun.